Welcome to Betting Weekly WTA, the women's tennis betting podcast brought to you in association with Bet Rivers. Before we get started, make sure to like and subscribe to us on YouTube and your favourite podcast provider. And tell us what you think in the comments. Follow us on social media as well. The handle is @BecauseWeWin. And make sure you subscribe to the Betting Weekly newsletter with picks on various sports from all our handicappers. I'm Rory Jiwani, with me is Nigel Seeley. We're midway through Wimbledon, which has been chock full of upsets and surprises so far. We didn't do badly at all with our round one match bets. Nigel was 3 for 3 and I managed a profit thanks to Jelena Rybakina. Futures haven't gone quite so well. Nigel, I've been struck at Wimbledon, and you went yesterday. I've been struck by the number of long rallies I've seen. I mean, it's grass, but it doesn't, and the results tell you, it doesn't really feel like it's playing like grass. The clay courts have done really well. The service hold percentage is 68.4, which is down on the 70.4 from last year. I thought it was going to play really quick with the weather coming into the tournament. What have you made of it so far?
I think it's been an absolute disaster for bettors. Absolute disaster. I mean, we started off the first couple of days. I thought it was going to play really, really quick with that really, really hot weather we had here. Over in Madrid, where you are, Roy, breaking record temperatures. And I thought this was going to be insanely quick, and I thought we might have an old-style Wimbledon. Then, obviously, it's changed, and the clay courts have done it particularly well on the women's tour and on the men's tour as well. So It's one of those tournaments that you have a read for it, and everything you have to read for doesn't really go the way you expect it, and that comes around occasionally. And it's one of those tournaments. I mean, the matches we predicted exceptionally well, and we've done really well on the matches, and anyone who profited on the matches, and I was really confident in our first round picks. I fancied them quite strongly. The outright just hasn't gone our way. I mean, Madison Keys didn't put a performance. And also, you know, it is a tournament where anybody who's done well the week before, you know, Pegula won the tournament the week before, McCartney Kessler won the tournament the week before, have got beaten round one. Everyone's gone deep the week before, hasn't done well in this tournament. And it just shows you now that you need a bit of a rest period before majors. I think the thing I've taken from this tournament is that I don't believe anyone's going to go full out before the US Open. I think they're going to take it right easy, because this is a blueprint of where you want to be. Anyone who's done well, anyone who's won the tournament, the next 2 days they're playing at Wimbledon, and in very different conditions, and they haven't got the time to adjust. The people who've gone there, played on the courts, practice matches, have had time to adjust to the conditions, and that's the sort of takeout for me. Pegula was disappointing. Madison Keys was disappointing. Rybakina yesterday was another shock. And, you know, these are players who've done quite well in the prep going in. I think you might be better off coming in cold, you know.
That's what it seems like. I mean, with the exception of Iga Swiatek, who reached the final in Bad Homburg, lost to Pegula. I don't think any of the finalists, maybe Mertens. Mertens won the tournament right at the start of the grass court swing, and she's still going. But I think the rest of the finalists have gone out.
But I think it's the week before. I mean, you're talking about like 2-3 weeks before Wimbledon. Okay, I accept that people have done well in that tournament. In that tournament, Mertens played. Alexandrova got to the semi-finals of that tournament. Mertens won the tournament. They're both still in Wimbledon this year so far at the time of recording. But it's the week before. The week before, everyone who's done well in it, apart from Swiatek making the final, but the people who've won it have gone out round one. And I do think now this is the takeout from Wimbledon for me, is that I just can't see anyone going full out at the US Open before the week before the US Open to win the tournament. That's it's a fade for the favourites, because there's no value. What is the point? What is the point to win a 500 event and then go to Wimbledon and get beaten round one? It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it's been a strange tournament so far, to say the least. In this show, we're going to be looking at Monday's last 16 matches, and we start with 2 matches in the third quarter. And this did look the most open quarter on paper. Apart from Pegula's early exit, as we talked about, this has pretty much gone according to the script. We've got Ekaterina Alexandrova up against Belinda Bencic. Alexandrova -$2, Bencic +160. The spread 3.5 games, totals 21.5. Both players have matched their best ever showings at Wimbledon. Alexandrova hasn't dropped a set so far, whereas Bencic has come through consecutive 3-setters against Elsa Giacomo and Elisabetta Cocciaretto. They're 4-4 in the head-to-head, but Alexandrova leads 2-1 on grass, including a thumping 6-1, 6-2 win at Bad Homburg just over a week ago. Nigel, what do you reckon to this one?
Well, I mean, Alexandrova is a player that we highlighted on the preview show that I thought we both thought could potentially do well at this Wimbledon. I couldn't bring myself to back her after she failed to convert 13 match points against Elise Mertens in Hertogenbosch. And that was my, probably sometimes in life you should just sort of override those events and just think, but it was too raw an event for me not to get involved in. But if you look at her record this year, it's been absolutely so consistent. She won the tournament in Linz. She got the semi-finals in Doha, semi-finals in Charleston, semi-finals in Stuttgart, round of 16 in the French Open, got beat by Coco Gauff, the eventual champion. Then it goes across to clay, goes across from clay to grass, semi-final Hertogenbosch, quarter-final in Bad Homburg, and now to the third round of Wimbledon without dropping a set. She is a fast improving tennis player, and she has got an all-out grass court game. She's going to take huge confidence on the fact that she beat Bencic so easily when they met in round one in Bad Homburg. And on that match in Bad Homburg, she started off as a minus 250 favourite. I mean, today she's minus $2, or tomorrow she's minus $2. Has Bencic improved that much coming through two? I know she beat Parks in round one fairly comfortably, but in the last two matches, Cocciaretto was a right tight match, could have gone either way. She won 9-7 in a tie break. Giacomo, she lost the first set as a minus 330 favourite. So why has Alexandrova gone from minus 250 to minus $2 here? I fully expect Alexandrova to win this. Bencic is a player that I've never really been totally convinced about on the grass. And the fact that she's been annihilated a week ago by the same, or 2 weeks ago by the same opponent, I think the minus $2 is a little bit a value here. We don't go on this podcast and betting minus $2, but if you want to put in a parlay, I'm going to give you a parlay today. I'm going to give you a parlay. But Alexandrova will be part of my parlay here. I wouldn't be surprised if she covers the spread. I mean, what is it? 2.5 the spread at even money. Total here, 21.5. Wouldn't really want to get involved. Bencic played a lot of tennis, been on court a long time. Alexandrova's stats this Wimbledon have been brilliant. She's been serving fantastically. Probably one of the most impressive players in the draw so far. And I think she'll get another win here and progress through to the quarterfinals of a major. Just only worried about is that she went the conversion of the match points. But I think it's a great time to play Bencic after the long two matches she's had, and I think Alexandrova wins. So it's very, very simple here. No official bet on the money line or the spread, but I have got a parlay for you, which Alexandrova is part of. But I do think if you are going to have a bet minus $2, if you like the minus $2, that kind of betting is the way you want to play. Take the $2, minus $2. If you want to take the handicap, minus 2.5 at even money. But I'm very, very heavy involved with the Russian here.
Yeah, no, I think the spread looks quite good. Minus 3.5 games at plus 100.
Oh, it's minus 3.5.
Yeah, I think that looks a fair enough bet against, as you say, Bencic has never really convinced on grass, whereas Alexandrova probably is at her best on it. I mean, she's a good server, and that obviously helps. And she can rally from the baseline. She's not too bad at the net. I mean, how much further she can get, I'm not sure, but I think she'll have too much for Bencic in this match, and I expect her to win reasonably comfortably. We'll move on to the next match in Q3. And it's Mirra Andreeva against Emma Navarro. Andreeva minus 186, Navarro plus 148, spread 2.5 games, totals 21.5. Andreeva swept aside Hailey Baptiste pretty comfortably in the previous round. Navarro reached the quarterfinals last year, and in the last round, yesterday, she came from a set down to defeat defending champion Barbara Krejcikova. Before that, the American eased past Petra Kvitova and Veronika Kudermetova. I did say last time that the player who beat Kudermetova at the last two Wimbledons went on to win the tournament. I don't know if Navarro can extend that sequence, Nigel, but I thought Navarro looked a bit big here.
I think of all the matches, this is the one that could potentially be the shock. If you look at, I think there's the favourites look very, very good things in terms of stats, in terms of head-to-heads, but this is the one match where I think that the underdog may have a chance. I'm still unconvinced by Andreeva on a grass court. I don't think her game is a grass court game. Saying that, she's been exceptional on this tournament. But the draw has been fairly comfortable for her. I mean, Sheriff in round one, that's she's minus 2,000 to win that match. Bronzetti in round two. I know it was a tight second set, but Bronzetti's again not a proven grass court player. Baptiste, I thought would put up a bit more of a fight than what she did, and that was a good performance for Andreeva. But I still don't think that she is an out-and-out grass court. Losses against Magdalena Freck in Berlin, Loska Noskova in the quarterfinals of Bad Homburg. Just to me, I think that she doesn't really tick grass court boxes. Emma Navarro, on the other hand, I think this is her surface, but she has had a shocking year, a pretty shocking year. She was dreadful at Queen's Club when I watched her play against Beatrice Haddon-Mayer. She managed to get past her, but it was more the Brazilian having a nightmare. She got blown away in her match against Anisimova. Completely wiped off the court. And Mirra Andreeva is a little bit like Anisimova in terms of her hard hitting. So that's a matchup that could potentially be difficult. She showed huge, comeback ability in a match against Krejcikova, defending champion, to win the match. But Krejcikova is a player that when you get her into the third set, then potentially she could show the strains of her injury this season that she's had. So I'm not really, really convinced by either player here. So it's a no bet for me here. I do think the total games may be an angle in, go over. I know their previous head-to-head, there was only one meeting before, and it was a very, very easy win for Andreeva. But at Wimbledon, it might be a little bit different here. So I'm looking maybe potentially over the games at 21.5. I do have a slight lean for Navarro at the price, plus 148. But the early money, since these lines have come out, has been for the favourite. And on a day of heavy favourites, people might want to put them in as a four-player parlay and get with Andreeva here. But I'm going to swerve this one. It's not on my radar. If pushed over 21.5 games at minus 125.
Yeah, for me, the thing about Navarro is, when she's in a match, she's a real street fighter. She doesn't give in easily. At the Australian Open, she wasn't playing well, and she looked down and out in at least 3 matches, but somehow kept getting through. And for Andreeva backers, what would worry me was in Paris at the French Open when she faced the French wildcard Lois Boisson, and saw definite signs of temperament. She lost the plot in the last set. And I think Navarro could get to her here. As I said, Navarro reached the quarterfinals last year. And I was impressed the way she came back against Krejcikova, who looked great in the first set, but the American stuck in there. I'm tempted by Navarro at plus 148. I think it's too big. I think Andreeva, she was good against Baptiste. Baptiste didn't play. I mean, she showed flashes of what she can do in the second set. I think the roof being on helped Andreeva a bit. I mean, I don't think that would have made any difference to the outcome, but I think that did help Andreeva. I think Navarro can win this, so I'm going to have a point on Navarro at plus 148. I think she can just take Andreeva to a place she doesn't want to go. I like the way, Navarro, just even when she's not playing especially well, she can still get results. And I think on a grass court, I think she's just too big a price. So that's my first official play today. We move on to the third match on Monday. This is in the fourth quarter now, and Liudmila Samsonova is up against Jessica Bouzas Maneiro. The Russian minus 385, Bouzas Maneiro plus 290. The spread 4.5 games, totals 20.5. Samsonova, you were saying about Alexandrova being solid so far. I think Samsonova's been equally so. She's matched her best showing at Wimbledon, hasn't dropped a set, and she cruised past Daria Kasatkina in the previous round. Bouzas Maneiro upset Sofia Kenin in round 2 and then took out Coco Gauff's conqueror, Diana Yastremska, yesterday in 3 sets. This is the first meeting between the pair. I mean, Nigel, everything says this should be an easy win for the Russian, but the way this Wimbledon's going, I'm not really sure.
I watched Samsonova yesterday against Kasatkina. It was the match I watched at Wimbledon. I was on court number 3 watching this match, and Samsonova played really, really well. Honestly, I thought if she plays like this, she can go potentially all the way to the final. Her serve was exceptional. Even at crucial points, she dug deep. There was a lot of points that were juice points, and she dug deep. She had break points against her. She didn't win a point on the Kasatkina serve for the first 2 Kasatkina games. It was 2-2, and then she broke Kasatkina to love on the next 2 games when she got the reading of her. And I like her. I like what I see. I like Samsonova and Alexandrova. I like these players, but I just don't know when it gets tight. The reason I don't like to bet them in latter stages is I just question their temperament, not their grass court temperament or their tennis temperament, but their big match mentality to get over the winning line. And Samsonova definitely fits that bill as well as Alexandrova. She fought back yesterday, played really well, but not really fought back, but she went to break. She was a break up in the second set. When they come back from a rain delay, she was 2-love up. Then it went to 2-1. Kasatkina broke her straight away. She broke her back. Every time her back was into the wall, she produced some brilliant shots. Big serve, as we know. Great backhand. Very strong forehand. Not much to like about Samsonova. And I think she'll win this fairly comfortably. Minus 385 again is a not the kind of price that we want to have on this show. We don't really like picking up at minus 385. 4.5. I think she probably covered the 4.5 as well, minus 129. So I've gone for one bet, and my bet is Alexandrova and Samsonova in a parlay. It plays minus 113 with Bet Rivers. I don't see any downside in that one. Bouzas Maneiro, I think, has done exceptionally well. She'll be astonished that she's in the second week of Wimbledon, and I think she'll think to herself, well, I've done my job, and that'll be it for me. So I think that Bouzas Maneiro has played her tournament. Yastremska, she beat. Good win in the first round as well against second round against Kenin. But I think this is a top player here in Samsonova, who can go all the way to the final. She was brilliant against Joint in round 1 as well. So yeah, I'm going to go for the parlay. That's my bet today. Alexandrova and Samsonova, a 2-point parlay at minus 113.
There we go. Yeah, this is a no bet for me. I think the odds are about right. I suppose on the flip side for Bouzas Maneiro, I guess there's no pressure on her, so she can just swing freely and hope for the best. But I do think Samsonova will be a bridge too far here. We move on to the final match on Monday, and I think we've pretty much saved the best till last here. Iga Swiatek minus 360 against Clara Tauson plus 270. The spread 4.5 games, totals 21.5. Swiatek dropped a set against Katie McNally in round 2, but she was pretty impressive against Danielle Collins yesterday. Tauson struggled past Heather Watson in round 1, but she's been excellent since. She served 11 aces in her win over Anna Kalinskaya, and then took out 2022 champion Jelena Rybakina in straight sets. 2-0 in the head-to-head to Swiatek, although both meetings were quite a long time ago. The last was at Indian Wells in 2022, which did go to 3 sets. I can't help feel that Towson's overpriced here, Nigel.
Well, I suppose that the slower conditions at Wimbledon will suit Tauson. I mean, her grass court pedigree coming into this tournament hasn't been that good. She hasn't shown any signs of being a grass court player, but obviously the slower conditions will help her chances, but it also helps Swiatek's chances massively as well. The conditions are slow here as well. I'm a, you know, I've been running the Clara Tauson fan club from the UK for a very long time. But I mean, I was astounded that she beat Rebecca yesterday. I couldn't believe it. I thought Rebecca could go all the way and win this tournament. I thought she was the girl to beat from what I saw for the first week, and that was a sensational performance. If she can back that up here, then yeah, she can go all the way. But I just think that Swiatek has made some changes to her game. She's adapted a little bit to grass. The fact that the slower conditions help her as well. I think she'll probably come through here. I was looking at total games here. You know, both matches they've played before have both cashed on over. But I wanted to bet over 20.5. I didn't want 21.5. I thought 21.5 was quite a big number. 20.5 I would have played, but 21.5 I might not play. And I was hoping for like minus 105 for a game less. At 21.5, I'm not gonna get involved. Could potentially play the over sets, over 2.5 sets at plus 163, maybe a small interest. But I think that Iga Swiatek will just get the edge over Clara Tauson. I think she probably left a lot of it on court yesterday against Rebecca on court number 2. I think that was a big win for her, a huge win. She's into the top 20 now for the first time in her career. I've always said she's a top 10 player. She could be a top 10 player by the time the US Open starts. And I just got a feeling that Iga Swiatek, though, may have a little bit too much for her. She's beaten her twice before. A couple of sets have been quite close. A couple of 7-6 sets, tiebreaker sets. But then Iga Swiatek has run away with it after that. So maybe a small lean on over 21.5. But I wanted 20.5 and it would be an official play. For me, not getting involved, but I hope Tauson wins because I like what I see from her. But I just think that the slower conditions will suit both players, which gives Swiatek even more of an edge.
Yeah. So are you feeling like a bit like the Seeley auto fade for Tauson after that big win?
Well, not really, because she's a top 20 player. I like the auto fade when someone is like ranked 150 and beats like you know the player in the top 10. You know, this is a player that should be beating these kind of players. But I do think that the effort of that match and the crowd reaction to that game and the media attention on her now is such that she's probably never been used to. But I think Iga Swiatek is just going under the radar here. I think she's a player. To me, these low conditions, no one's talking about her as a potential champion in this tournament, which is dangerous because in these slower conditions with the seas dropping, she's going to be a major threat. And next week it gets a bit cooler. You know, we haven't spoken about the weather. There's rain around next week, rain around tomorrow. I think that Iga Swiatek is going about her business without doing much, and nobody's talking about her as a potential champ, which is dangerous. It's when you think she's going to win it, that's when she may have a target on her back. But at the moment, she's doing all right, and I think she's going to have too much of Tauson here.
I don't know. I still can't really have Swiatek on grass. I mean, I know it's a bit slower. I mean, she hasn't really faced anyone of note. I mean, she beat Danielle Collins, who's never done anything on grass. And yeah, Tauson's not really a grass court player, as you say, but she was good against Rebecca. I mean, Rebecca wasn't at her best. A lot of unforced errors. I quite like Tauson on the spread here. And I think, the spread on the screen is 4.5. I thought I quite like 3.5. Tauson plus 3.5 games. As you said, they've had a couple of close sets in the past. And Tauson plus 3.5 games is plus 128. And I think that's a good price.
Never covered 3.5 though, Rory. She's never in their matches. They've been tight for.
They were a long time ago, though. I mean, she's a much better player than she was 3 years ago when they met. And I think she'll have confidence after beating Rebecca.
I think people just one thing. You said that Iga Swiatek hasn't got a good grass court record, and people will just look at her because she hasn't won Wimbledon and she's been so dominant on other surfaces, in particular clay. But her career record is 24-9. I mean, that's not a record that is bad. She's a quarter-finalist at Wimbledon. She got beat by Svitolina back in 2023. She's had some shock defeats along the way as well. But she got beat by Andreeva in, I think, the year before that, I think it was. But that wasn't, this was a peak Andreeva. I don't think that her record, 24-9, is that bad. And in a slow Wimbledon on a slow courts, she could. I think she could be under the radar as a potential winner.
Lost to Svitolina last year, though. That's not great. Was it last year, or was that the
year before?
Year before.
That was in the quarterfinals. But like, I know that. But like, that was probably you've said the stats there. You've told me that it's like playing a lot slower in terms.
It is
slower. So like, this is a fast clay court, really. And if it was a clay court match, really, what would she be? I don't know. I've got a feeling that people think that Swiatek is a lot worse than what her record suggests. 24-9 career on grass isn't a bad record. If we were talking about someone in the top 100 in the world, we would turn around and say she's really good on grass. She's 24-9. Yeah. If you look at Tauson coming into this last year, she was 0-3 on grass. She didn't win a match. This is the first matches she's won this year on grass, and she's 8-9 career against someone who's 24-9. And we're saying the one on 24-9 hasn't got a good record on grass. It's because her record is so good on other surfaces that we don't rate her on as a grass court player. But I think she's got, we're all looking at, everyone in the whole world is looking at this draw now and thinking this is Sabalenka's to lose. Well, I think there's some battles ahead for her.
Yeah, I think with Swiatek as well on grass, there is a technical issue with her forehand, because obviously on grass the ball keeps a bit lower. And then, like Goff, Swiatek and Goff both have these similar forehands, which they take a bit of preparation. So if the ball does keep low, it's harder to get under the ball, and then they make a lot of unforced errors on that wing. Hasn't been that bad for Swiatek so far, but I do always have that in the back of my mind.
Are we on the Tauson train here? Because this will be the first time we've ever took Tauson, and I'm not the person suggesting this. I'm anti-Tauson this one. We on the Tauson train? Yeah,
I think so. I'll go Tauson plus 3.5 games at plus 128, a point bet for me. I suspect Swiatek might have a bit much in the end, and she'll somehow scrape through. But I think Tauson with her serve, that's probably one of the important things. It's how Swiatek handles Tauson's serve, because she's a good server, but we know how good a returner Swiatek is. I think we'll know pretty early our fate on that front. If Swiatek's reading the Tauson serve and getting it back, particularly on the second serve, we could be in trouble. But I really liked what I saw from Tauson yesterday. She wasn't afraid to come into the net. Played some great angled, sort of half volleys, and it was a really entertaining match. And I think, it's great to see her, because she's been around for a few years. She's had all sorts of injury problems. She didn't have a coach at one point because she couldn't afford it. And just shows that perseverance pays off in the end. And now, as you say, she's in the top 20. So I'm delighted to see that. And I don't think she's done yet. So I hope she can cover the spread. I'd love to see her win, as you said, as you would too. And also, I've got quite a substantial amount of money that Swiatek doesn't win a slam this year. So I really want Swiatek to get beaten.
Now we know why. Now we know the bet reason behind this bet.
Well, because she was. I thought, once I thought, obviously her form going into Roland Garros, and that was what the bet was largely based on. If she doesn't win Roland Garros, she's highly unlikely to win another slam this year. And obviously she didn't win Roland Garros, and Wimbledon obviously has been her worst slam. And I still don't see her as the winner of this tournament. She has won the US Open before. But again, there are so many players in the mix at the US Open. Your Sabalenkas and your Goff comes back into the equation, even Pegula. And you've got a few others. Andreeva would be a contender this year, I think. Wimbledon, I thought, would be the easiest one, would be the one she definitely wouldn't win. And I'm a bit nervous now, because she has been playing well, and it is playing slowly, as you say. And she might get past Tauson, but I can't see her getting to the final. She did get to the final last week, though, which was, her first final since Roland Garros last year. And it was on grass, which was a bit of a surprise. But Tauson on the spread plus 3.5 games for me. That's my final bet. Nigel, let's run through your bet, and it's a parlay. Tell us what it is.
Yeah, so we got interest on every single match tomorrow. These 4 matches tomorrow that we're previewing here. We have. But I've gone for the 2 favourites. I think Alexandrova and Samsonova are the 2 players who are just underneath the radar as well in terms of going deep in this tournament. I think they'll both win. Alexandrova to beat Bencic, Samsonova to beat who's he playing? Bouzas Maneiro, isn't it? Bouzas Maneiro. I think -113 is the handicap, and I like that play. -113 as a parlay.
So there we go. And I've gone for Emma Navarro to upset Mirra Andreeva at +148, and Clara Tauson +3.5 games against Iga Swiatek at +128. That's it.
It's just worth noting. My parlay's 2 points, and Rory's bet is 1 point. Both those underdogs. So we're both laying out 2 points each, but mine's a 2-point parlay.
So there we go. That's it for Betting Weekly WTA. I hope you've enjoyed the show. Nigel, you'll be catching up with Sean. Looking forward to the latter stages of the men's tournament.
Yep, Mr. Happy. I'm joining Mr. Happy in about an hour from now, going through the tennis, looking through the men's match. It's always the best day at Wimbledon, the Monday. The Monday after. All the action happens. It's a really good day. It's sort of like a moving down golf when you see the players come through. First day of the second week, always the best day for betting for me. So I'm looking forward to see what he has to say about that. I'm sure he'll be happy, and he'll on Sunday afternoon to speak to me, but we'll find out a bit later.
I mean, there have been a fair few shocks in the men's tournament as well. Thinking Jack Draper, Andre Bublik going out early, Zverev going out in round 1, but still left with Sinner and Alcaraz dominating affairs. So yeah, they'll probably play in the final again. And of course, we've got so much sport to look forward to into the latter stages of the Club World Cup, and Betting Weekly Live. We'll be looking at that, and we've got Betting Weekly Tennis Live coming up this week. Looking through, so we'll be looking at some of those Monday matches we've been talking about, Nigel. We'll have the guys looking at that, and then on Tuesday and Wednesday as well. Just a last reminder, make sure you like and subscribe here, Betting Weekly Studios at Because We Win on social media, and sign up to the newsletter. Thanks for joining us, and we'll be back again next week with more Betting Weekly WTA.